Well, what's happening, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Tactics. Today is going to be another video on the massive UFC 280 card this weekend. My last one was on Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan, so if you're interested in that breakdown, I'll put a link in the description. Today is going to be a fight that is really flying under the radar, and a lot of people aren't actually talking about it, and I'm really excited for it. And it's in the Co-Main Event Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight title. You've got Aljamain Sterling, who's an awkward striker and an absolute sniper on the neck, against TJ Dillashaw, who's been around for years, fighting the best of the best for years, and in his first fight back in 18 months after his own controversial win over Corey Sandhagen. So we'll dive into this breakdown here, and we'll start by pulling up the tail of the tape. You've got a record of 21-3 for Aljamain Sterling and a record of 18-4 for TJ, who has been fighting the best of the best for such a long time. In their last four, Aljo's 4-0, and he's coming off a couple of controversies as well. He's coming off that controversial disqualification win to get the belt over Yan, and then he defended the belt against Yan in a controversial split decision win too. TJ's coming off his own controversies, obviously the suspension for 2 years. He is 3-1 in his last four too. 2-year layoff, the suspension, and then he had that controversial win over Corey Sandhagen, which he took a lot of damage, and then took the split decision, and then has actually had another 15 months off since that fight with the surgery in between. So height, you've got 5'7" for Sterling, but he is quite big and very long for the weight class, especially whenever we have a look at his reach. 5'6" for TJ, but he's not exactly small for the weight class, but you're not going to see Aljo weighing 125, which we have seen TJ do. 33 for Aljo, 36 for TJ. He does have a fair amount of miles on the clock, TJ. Reach is 71 for Aljo. He has a real good reach for that weight class. He's very long for the weight class. Long arms, great for chokes, which we've seen him, which we know that he's very good at. And he has that 4-inch reach advantage then over TJ, which I can see him trying to put to use. And both guys are switchers, and TJ, as we know, has some of the best footwork in the UFC period, not just the bantamweight division. Right, let's jump into the technical side. We'll start with TJ. I've been watching TJ for years. He's been around for a long time, and he's always been a fighter who I've really enjoyed watching. He has really dynamic striking, and like we said, he has unreal footwork. He was really ahead of the game whenever it came to the switching stances. He'll switch mid-combo, he'll switch back, he'll shift his stance going forward, and he's always waving his hands and feinting at you, and then really like blitzing with a shift as well. And he's really good at this one where he'll like show his cross and then quickly switch his stance and turn it into a lead hook, and he's very, very good at that. He's always looking to keep the outside angle and move the angles on you with his footwork as well, setting up lethal head kicks and setting up lethal attacks from different angles, which he's so good at, and it also keeps him safe and keeps him on the outside angle, so it's hard for people to take him down too. I love how TJ sets up his head kicks. He'll always move out at a nice angle, and his opponent thinks then that there's an out on the opposite side, which allows him just to whip it up, and he's got a couple of finishes with it as well. So we'll have a look at a few clips here. So you see him against Joe Soto. He's waving the hands, comes in with a nice body shot and follows him around, and actually switches stance there into southpaw, as you see too. Comes forward with a few more shots and shifts his stance back into orthodox. Here Joe Soto has good hand position, and he thinks there's a way out to the side here. But once you hit these little triangles in the cage, which I'll talk about in a different video, you actually get a little bit closer, and that allows him to whip up the head kick here. Perfect. And it actually lets him get the finish too. So let's let this play on to the next clip. Okay. So here against Sandhagen, what you're going to see, he's always moving around, showing the hands. It doesn't matter what stance he's always showing his hands, giving you different looks, not letting you get a read on him. And then he'll quickly blitz forward with different shots and blitz forward with overhands. And as you see here, he mixes in a nice level change too, as he had already been pushing for the takedown here. So we'll just let this play through. So here he's waving his hands around, hits a nice inside leg kick, which he uses to switch back into orthodox. Has good hand position here before he goes, and then he's going to skip, blitz forward, dip, and then land a nice overhand. So there's so much going on there, but it's such a good combination. As he skips forward, it makes Corey Sandhagen disengage, and the little dip there makes him think that the takedown's coming and allows him to whip the overhand in. Another factor that I've been thinking about is the layoffs for TJ. He had that 2-year layoff with the suspension, coming off a knockout loss. Then he jumped in against one of the most dangerous guys in the division, against Sandhagen, and he took a lot of damage, including blowing his knee out in the first round. Now, I know he was injured, but he did look a little bit off pace there. Going against someone who's very active in Sandhagen, granted, but he did look a little bit off pace. Taking on that injury and another surgery in between, he's now been off for another 15 to 16 months. So I think that may play a factor in someone like Sterling, who's been preparing for the likes of Jan and has been right at the pinnacle of the sport. TJ's really tough to take down. He's very scrambly, and he's just a very well-rounded fighter. He's also really, really mean. You hear in interviews how even in the gym he has a bad reputation for hurting people. In fights, he's very intense. He brings a real high intensity to the fight. He has a gas tank for days. And at the end of the day, he's been preparing for 5 round title fights from 2014. He has been around for a long time. We've seen his heart tested against Cody when he got dropped. And we've also seen his heart tested whenever he was injured and badly damaged in his last fight against Corey. So we know he's going to be there all night. There is a bit of an argument for TJ to be the bantamweight GOAT. Now, I do know the PEDs kind of take him out of the equation, but if I have a look at some of his stats, like, he really is at the pinnacle of the sport. So just have a look at my notes. He's number 1 at bantamweight for wins. He's number 1 for TKO KO wins. Number 2 for finishes. Number 1 for title fight wins. Most bonuses. Number 2 at knockdowns, and has the most strikes landed, and is a 2-time world champion. So he really is at the pinnacle of the sport, and he can do it all. He can wrestle, he can strike. I really do feel like his best chances in this fight are to keep the fight starting, but we know that he's good on the ground, but that is where Aljo is at his strongest. Now let's have a look at the champ, the Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling. So he has a funky, odd, weird timing style, and when he's pressing you, he really pushes forward, dipping with level changes, changing stance, and pushes you back with kicks. He likes to use his kicks to close the distance and set up his takedowns, which he's very, very good at, and he has that odd, awkward timing, which is hard to get a read on him as well. Let's have a look at a couple of clips here at how he uses his kicks to push people back and to set up his takedowns. And I'll pull this up. So we've got Aljo here, and he's going to push back Stamen by using a spinning kick, which doesn't land, but he has to respect it and move back, and then he fakes another kick, and that allows him to enter for the takedown. And this is something that you're going to see him do a lot, is use his kicks to press you back and get the takedown. And we'll just let this play on through here. And here he is against Jan, using his level changes and his kicks again to push him back. Just have a look at this. Tape, moving him back, faking with level changes, always making him react and never letting him march forward. On the back foot, he does a really good job of circling and moving laterally and trying to draw you in. He'll change stances, use his feints and his fakes, and really try to get you to overextend on a shot. So again, he can get in on those hips and drive you to defense and try and take you down and get to his best positions, which we know is on the back. Like I've said, where Aljo is at his best and does his best work is on the ground, and specifically on the back. He has described himself, and he really is an absolute human backpack. He's unreal at catching the back during scrambles and during defended takedowns, and this is something that he used unreal against Jan and was able to actually win the fight against him. And whenever he gets the back, it's so hard to shake him off that probably once he gets that position, he's either going to sub you or he's going to stay there for the rest of the round. So we'll just have a quick look at a couple of clips here and show you how good Aljo actually is on the back. He is so good on it. So here against Cody, just to show you his control, he's getting great punches, inflicting damage, and as Cody tries to get up, rather than hold the seatbelt here, he goes in double armpits or under the elbows and just scoops him back out and forces him to go flat because he has nothing to base himself off. Great control. We'll just let this play on here, and again, this time Cody tried the same thing, but he's able to reach in under the leg, and this is where he gets the knee bar finish, which is quite a famous one that he's done before. Absolutely lovely finish, and just before they've even hit the floor, he's already tapping because that is a super tight submission. Here you see him against Corey, and he just shucks him round to take the back. He gives up the overhook and he'll jump it. See how he used defense there? I'll just put this back. If you just look, I'll just put a wee circle on it, and his foot here, he's using his foot to be able to bounce up and clear the back and jump up onto it. He gets his back, gets to the choke, and then instantly starts cranking on that choke and pulling him back so he can even get the back standing and then pull you to the ground, Charles Oliveira style. Here he does this Really good one. He's very, very good at this. So he's going to threaten to flatten you out after scoring some punches, and he almost flattens him out. And then on the way back round, he's already round the neck. He is an absolute sniper for that neck. So as he's thinking to flatten you out and you try to turn back into him, he's on that throat. And he gets the finish here against Corey as well by doing it. And there he is. He's on the neck. I'll just let this play through. He gets it. So he almost gets the same thing here on Jan. So he gets to a good position where he's able to score. Just let it slow down. Here he's scoring some shots, which forces Jan to turn away. He comes up like he's going to threaten to flatten him out. But then when Jan turns back, he goes for that one like he done on Corey and tries to get the choke. But Jan's a bit ways to it. So we'll just watch here. He goes to keep the control, underhooking the shoulder and flatten him out. Jan turns back and he goes for the choke. And he's nearly under the chin there. But Jan does a good job of defending. He's very, very good at this one. Here's a different sequence, so this is really, really nice here, and again just shows you his control. Jan tried to clear the hooks or clear the body triangle and explode round. So you'll see here, he's going to follow him up, clears the control that Jan has on the wrist, and instantly, I'll just let this go a bit more, he's holding his wrist there, which as you see, I'll just put a wee circle around this. There we go. He is keeping all his weight on that hand, which stops Jan from being able to move and allows him to adjust and stay on the back here. And then he just ratchets him back and then puts the body triangle back on. And then here, and just in one more wee clip, you see how he gets him off an overextended shot, straight in on the hips. Jan does a good job of defending, but he's so good here that whenever he gets you off balance, or if he can get you turning for 1 second, nice takedown, gets his butt to the floor, and then straight away he's onto that back, claims you, and he's so hard to get off. And once he gets to this position, it really is backpack mode activated. We'll just have a very quick look here at the style stats, and I'll just pull them up. So we've got Aljo with an average fight time of 13-12, TJ for 12-28, wins by sub 7 for Aljo, 2 for TJ, wins by KO TKO 8 for TJ and 2 for Aljo. So that just shows where we know TJ's the better striker, Aljo's the better grappler. Wins by decision 9 and 7. Neither of guys have been submitted. 1 loss for TKO KO for Aljo and 2 for Dillashaw. Significant strikes 4.56 for Aljo and 5.26 for Dillashaw. So both guys have a decent output, and both guys are looking for a takedown pretty much on average. 1.71 for Sterling and 1.63 for Dillashaw. For a prediction for this fight, I really can't pick one. I think if the fight stays standing, I'm going to have to go with TJ. Although I think if Aljo is able to get TJ down and get to his good positions like the back, it's going to be tough for TJ to get him off him. I think the layoffs may play a small factor as well, but TJ has been around for a long time and he really does have that championship mentality, so it might not play too much of a factor. I really do think though if Aljo is able to get to the back, he has a very good chance of submitting him. We know TJ can wrestle, and we've seen Sterling being taken down as well. I don't think TJ will mix in his wrestling too much, but if he has to, we know that he can. I think his wrestling will be good enough to be able to hold Aljo off for a while, and I think that his striking might be enough to take him out. So if I was going to go for a bet, I might put it on TJ to win by decision, or maybe TKO in the 3rd or 4th round. Well, that's it for today's episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments and who you think's going to win. I actually can't pick one for this fight, and I think it's going to be really close. It is kind of flying under the radar a little bit, but it's a fight that I'm really excited for. The next video coming out later in this week is obviously going to be the main event, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. So if you're excited for that one, remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And if you like today's episode, hit that wee like button too, because it really helps me out. Thank you. See you later.